on the beach. Black undertow of tide rumbled foreboding. Dark undertow of tide rattled borrowed teeth. The returning of the tide splashed open white fangs. "Let's swim! Let's swim!" The rest of us don't want to. The beach shelves, a hangman's drop. Some waves will knock you over. The big wave will bury you. "Let's swim! I want to swim!" We all say no. You're not the only pebble on the beach. We hear the black undertow. Notice how the single mountains shift. Air letter from Accra, 1949. Privately educated, middle class, English. Naturally, I have nothing valid to write about the suffering of African people, any more than Euripides could speak for the captured women of Troy. Having been mocked by squatting African traders, calling me to each other, "white baby girl," turning nasty when I turned away. I was sad, sadly unable to trade. I hadn't the knack. Everybody gets cross with niggardly virgins who are always white. Dusk is brief here, little more than the switching on of loud night. Day's pictures are quickly blotted. Cardinal birds, the giant steps of the surf, me with the chief clerk, with his 6 visiting children. One brought a scarlet pod for his father to name, who, stymied, burst and rolled the seed hoard open. Magnificent, the dismissive gesture of thumb, rendering ignorance lordly, destroying much. A career. As curator of disconsolate, mostly I keep only the astoundingly rare sigh, one you could tell all your lost chances by, one that could blow you out of your second-best bed. Not practical to keep your everyday sigh, we'd have too many to store. I'd like to sound you this sigh that rips through an entire generation. But stand a pace back, please. There. Let's walk on. Leave a little interval. Sometimes I admit I come upon a small sigh, and I just can't let it go. Perhaps you'd like to hear a few of these minis. I think you'll agree they should be kept. True love. Between waking and sleeping, I watch my true love. A man who is always a child, except when he's ruling the world. His tall figure threads the walk through the cherry trees, the primeval orchard. The boles wear tight bark, crusty and sheeny, almost too bronze for colour, like the cheeks of the black cherries. His movement plats flowers through the grass, enamelled, blazing, not caring if yellow or tender pink is noticed. The cherry blossom's ocean will never drown you. Rather, it teaches you how to breathe. Breath buoyant with praise of being alive, given these conditions. The bright air, the dark walk, the man. Spiders. Quitting our bed one night in anger, I descended to our dignified, if dusty, dining room, crammed my cheek on a smarting sofa. As I lay low with horizontal sight, my eye switched onto 2 fine-etched, sparring spiders. Gaunt and ghastly in their gothic foils, clashing only as air between angles, joisting in a deathly harmony. Back I slid on my tide of crotches into our cave, fleeing, not conniving at their predatory rapport. a halo of doves, a wreath of interwinging doves, recollected, building, tree, sky, building, tree, sky, in their circular, repeated visitations, recalling, by way of off-liminal rhythm, a lighthouse signal for soul. Their disk of skimming feathers worn by the afternoon light shone at an angle only learnt from my afternoon bed, a halo for inactivity, still flown accurately askew by memory. Skeletal mice. Let us seek out and admire the skeleton of a mouse. They must be dainty all about us, like rats, never more than 10 metres from you. Some an owl took, some fate, a trap, a cat. Some fell asleep, as I hope. One I did to death, as it sat sick still in the doorway to my room. I hit it with a broom. No worse a memory. The virtual mouse ossuary must be stacked as high as a house with their tiny relics, first caged in life, then set free. Piano practice. These accommodating chords change key, containing all our moods. Emotions flooding the saloon, flirting us on a voyage. But when the music stops, where is our chair? Or where were we going? The milk cart, 1919. The high wheels rolled us down from the farm on the brow to the narrow streets, careful of kingly cans in which milk busked. Smokes rose and sank in homage to our throne. Tom, sceptre with switch, guided our state. Reins lived in his hand, and I, his chosen consort, wren of the ride, gazed on the churning acres of Paddy's rump. What a bedizened tableau was our halt, and all the motion of our slow descent, Tom's voice digested in a grand "Milkoo!" Already, though, fraying our majesty, the ragged children from the doorways came. Pitchers and billy cans besieged our sock, and busy dipper rang our wounding wells. Tom greeted patient women with fair look, and laughed with others, who regaled our stay with spouting matches. And once the neighbours brought us both to step over a threshold where a sick child lay. Into sour dusk my eyes swam nakedly, and I saw death as it came yesterday. Deciding to excavate Sutton Hoo, 1938. The muslin veil, tacked to her summer's straw, fluttering toward the burrows, circled the tumulus between meadow and sea's horizon, where history blows wavering and diverse in a clump of grasses. Shan tongue and mannered limbs settle, caressing the afternoon. The lady who threads her fingers through the turf's crest thinks, how dry is Egypt, this sand that rides my land in a fleet of slug hills? Who, I wonder, decided to stop time here? If a ship were riding at anchor just beyond my garden, wouldn't I wish to know where it could take me? The living do get a chance to ask time questions, if they find it stopped nearby. Later, as she returns across the fields, stumbling down the ha-ha and rasping her palms on the rusty park pails, long shadows reach for her over lawns from her lit house, grasp her in uncertain thoughts. Have we decided to stop time here? It's not that it seems just important to dig, but with war on the way, what could one do except something altogether extraordinary? War night. On a raid-free night, I heard my sister sobbing and met my father on his way, like me, to comfort her. When we came to her pillow, she did not greet us. She remained alone. In her sleeping face, the lips kept trying to close neatly again against the plague of sobs. The hard tears forced shut lids and did not wake her. But those harsh dreams, unlike the fighting men, could not be sent beyond the seas of sleep. We looked and took her pain back to the landing. Between us, on the night-lit lino lay, gleaming and aching in mother's weekly shine, my young escaping, his old forbidding and losing. We wished to part, but something must be said. That's war, he muttered. There you have the war. She wept as our tidy slippers crept away. A present of Quince. That moment, when my fresh blood delicately lights up the veins of the touch old ivory quince flesh, you have warned me about, and I dread. So far so good. Put to bed in iron, water, honey, fire, to steep, I have committed your nobbly goddesses for a long creating sleep.